Hello, welcome back to Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. It's me, A. Prusian, and I am in the last day of trial, and I left myself here a few days ago so that when I came back, I would remember that I need to present the picture that she drew. Because I'm pretty sure that's what I need to do here. Where was that picture? Wait, it was on the back of this, right? This is the part we have. Yeah. Okay. Present. Mr. Edgeworth. This little girl put all of her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you would insist on denying its existence? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that, as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold. This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over? Turn it... Ah! What's this? Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it. That's the picture I drew. I think it's interesting that they had to have her draw it on the back of the evidence list. Because I feel like in real life it wouldn't make much sense that that's the paper she used. Although, conceivably, it's not, like, impossible. But I think they did it here so that it is undeniably linked to the case. So you can't be like... Are you sure that's not some other random picture that you found, Phoenix? Although, they have intended to do that anyways. Indeed, two men appear to be wrestling here. I mean, honestly, it's a pretty good picture. And I'm not sure, though, that it's so good that you need to stop it from being evidence. That's the thing that confuses me, is that I don't know why Gant wanted this gone. Because you can't tell. Maybe it's going to be like a left-handed thing again, like in the Edgeworth case. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh? These lists, they're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? What? And he still won the case, so there's that. Right, yeah. But Miss Skye, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor. Are you all right, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Oh, that's a thought. I did not even consider that. Huh. Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. Is something wrong? Do you even have to ask? Edgeworth? Oh, back to normal. Sorry, Your Honor. There's indeed something drawn on the back of my list. It's that thing. The blue badger. That's that thing. The thing that was dancing in the evidence room. With the fucking Blue Badger music. Clearly, this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. Evidence list restored and updated in the court record. Very well. Witness. Will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago? Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture. Emma's picture. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder Prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Yeah, I wonder what we're going to try to get out of this. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. Did you draw this picture right after the incident? I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. At first, I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything. During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge, under the direction of Damon Gant and Lana Skye. 2 or 3 days later, the memory should still have been fresh in her mind. Excuse me, witness. But can you please tell us why this picture is painted all black? The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. So at the time, you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to rescue you? No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright, and I was knocked to the floor. Oh, interesting. So she didn't know the identity of the people in the room at all. It's not just that at the moment she couldn't tell because they were silhouetted. But in general, she didn't know. Huh. You were knocked to the floor? Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed. Poor Emma. I'm just glad she wasn't hurt. What happened after the lightning flashed? After that, I must have fainted. You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place? No, I'm sorry. The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. Do you really need to torture this girl any further? Yeah, I mean, Edward's got a point here. What? Hey, I'm not the bad guy here. I love how often they have to tell each other that. Anyway, this picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. Sorry for asking so many times. Are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Of course, this is the exact scene. It wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with the detectives? Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? No, of course not. I better watch out, or he might find some way to cut my salary. You own your own, law firm. Or inherited it, I guess. I drew this picture before I had heard anything from the detectives, so I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me. Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture? Huh? Oh, well... That's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind. And yet, there's clearly a contradiction here. Is there? Where was Neil Marshall stabbed? Can I look at the court record? I guess if I want to be careful, I just need to not present. The broken tip was found in the victim's body, but where in the body? Like, is that what the issue is? Huh. Closed. Huh. I don't know what the issue is. He says there's a contradiction. Stabbed in the back. There it is. This doesn't look like it was stabbed in the back. That's the issue. Yeah, so present. I think it's the issue. I guess we'll find out. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. What? But I still remember it just like it was yesterday. Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us? What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report? Is it... I'm not sure if I need to click on him to show, like, this is his front. Or if I need to be... I think that's probably what I need to do. I'm gonna try that. I think it's this part here. Oh, that doesn't sound like I hit the right spot. I don't see what's so strange about that. It's because the drawing stinks. Phoenix Wright. Mr. Wright, how could you? Indeed. The act of making an innocent girl cry should warrant the death penalty. Okay, I guess he means I shouldn't shift the blame to others. Yes, well, so long as the defense has learned his lesson. Better take another look at the autopsy report in this picture. Okay. That was the wrong spot. I know what I want it to be. Okay, let's try this again. Maybe I need to do it... I'm not sure, like, I know what I'm trying to say. This shows that he's in the front, being stabbed in the front, not the back. But I'm not sure how to point at that. So I'm gonna keep trying until I point at the right place, I guess. Let me try up here this time. The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see its tip is broken. Oh, that's not at all what I thought. Well, hey, I got there. Even I don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright. But, Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken, too. If I recall... the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. the victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. Yeah. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Ah! What's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right, but what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time. She was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Oh, we've got smarmy asshole Phoenix coming out. Perfect. Have you forgotten already about a little something called falsified evidence? That's right. So they put the tip of the knife into Neil Marshall, I think. You're treading on thin ice, right? All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. Ah. Order, order, order. Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony. See, that frickin' suit of armor halberd, I feel like maybe that killed him and then they made it look like Joe Dark did. But I want to know why the halberd came off the trophy. Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gaunt. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story, there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. You mean like the halberd off of the trophy? Maybe it was that one instead of the one on the suit of armor. What are the chances of there being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's. Could there have been one? Of course there's one. It's on the fucking trophy. The witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw. It can't just be explained away by a simple observational error. Mr. Wright. In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume, then, that you have some information about this other broken knife. So please feel free to enlighten us. Just save. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon. It's the King of Prosecutors trophy. It's gotta be. If anything's broken here, it's you. Huh? I'm sure this must all be very amusing to you, Mr. Wright. But may I remind you that the fate of Miss Lana Skye hangs in the balance? When I was right! Ah, fuck's sake. Okay. So let's go to the picture. Here. The answer lies in the past, 2 years in the past. Right here inside this picture. This is a picture of the award ceremony. Ah! What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding? That's a broken knife. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award. I mean, they're saying all this. I'm having a hard time following what we think is actually happening with these knives and everything. We'll find out. Order, order, order! Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that can't be. Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutors award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed. Right? That would be Neil Marshall holding the knife and Joe Dark at the bottom. What do you mean? I mean, this man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. Oh! Yeah, Phoenix. But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. What's going on here? It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Wait, I remember now. I remember everything. Witness? Mr. Edgeworth? What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back. She also drew this, I assume. I knew it. This picture, I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. Huh. All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you've recalled, Miss Skye? Yes, Your Honor. First the knife mix-up, and now the blue badger? This should be interesting. That is true. Okay. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed toward both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. Interesting. I wonder what that means. This is certainly most unusual. Try impossible. The chief of detectives hadn't even designed him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Hold it. Stop. Please. Don't pursue this any further. Oh, she's really intense. Lana. What's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. You can't do this. I've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Skye. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence. The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. Seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. Oh boy. Emma's recollection. When I saw that man raise his knife. When you say that man, I assume you refer to Joe Dark? Yes, at least I think it was him. You think? All I could really see were shadows. The power outage that immediately preceded the incident is also documented in the prosecutor office's reports. So then you panicked and rushed toward both of them. Why would you do something so dangerous? What else could I have done? He was about to stab Mr. Marshall. She seems convinced that Dark was the one holding the knife. But as we've just theorized, Mr. Marshall was the one holding the knife. Well, I didn't know that at the time. When that Dark guy knocked me down, all I could think was, I've got to help that other person. Oh, Emma. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Did Emma accidentally kill Neil Marshall, and that's what Lana's been trying to hide? Like, did Emma accidentally knock him into something, or, you know? Or, even if not directly, could she have indirectly been responsible for him dying, and that's what Lana's been trying to hide from her? Maybe. What do you mean, you think? It all happened so fast, and I was in shock. I don't remember everything clearly. What I did, it's all kind of a blur. Miss Sky was almost killed before she was witness to a murder about to take place. So much happening in a matter of seconds, a little disorientation is only natural. I saw the man about to stab the other person, who I thought was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with the knife. What you did was very brave, young girl. So then, what happened next? Just then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. Are you sure about this? Of course. See? I even drew a picture of him here. But it was the chief of detectives who thought of this hideous beast. And that was just this year. The blue badger didn't exist 2 years ago. This is all quite verifiable. I know it sounds strange. I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I'd seen him before somewhere. Now I finally remember. Oh, brother. Just when you thought that thing had caused enough commotion. Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing? He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. His shadow? Do you mean you didn't actually see his face with the winning smile and all? That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns. This is pointless. That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken. That may well be. What's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh, and I suppose you have another explanation? If so, then by all means, please tell us what this shadow really was. What was it Emma saw when that lightning flashed? That is a good question. Who is this blue badger really? Well, let's say we know. Blue badger hadn't even been dreamt up with Emma drew this picture. Yet she's certain she saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense's belief that on that fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the blue badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room. Mr. Wright? What is it? In this room? Very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in that instant? Please show us this mysterious blue badger look-alike. It's not the King of Prosecutors trophy. God, I have no... Is it the jar? It's gotta be this fucking jar, right? The mysterious blue badger was, in fact, this. But that's... what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of jar. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Indeed, it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? Gotta show them the correct angle to look at this from. Oh, this is fun. Like, is it just need to be upside down? Yeah, like this. Oh my god. Look at this. That feels pretty good. Yeah, like that. What? More like the badger. It looked pretty good. Allow me to remind the defense its case hinges on the witness's drawing. Mr. Wright can't match the shape the witness drew. We cannot accept his claim. I've got to find just the right angle. Maybe I should rotate it vertically a bit more, or horizontally? Come on, Mr. Wright, you can do it. Gotta show them the correct angle to look at this from. I thought I fucking had. Okay. I wish I could... Shoot. Whoa, now it's askew. Okay. I wish I could line it up with the actual one, you know. Apparently it has to be really spot on. I thought this was where I was before. Maybe it needed a bit more hat. God, this is being real finicky, so we'll try this. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, thank God. Well, is this a miracle or what? No one can possibly deny this jar's resemblance to the blue badger. No, it can't be. Order, order. The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious blue badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this. Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? Yeah, what does this mean? What do you mean? So that badger thing was actually just a jar. It doesn't change anything. Does it though? I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything. Does it? I mean, there was blood spatter on the jar, so maybe. Indeed? Very well then, please tell us. What's different now that we know the witness saw this jar? Well, we already knew she was in the chief's office. Is it the murderer? Or is it the murder weapon? I don't really know. I'm gonna guess the murderer. Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. At a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Gant. Yep, but the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. Yes, and it's these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. Huh. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room, in Chief Gant's office. Okay. I didn't realize they were making that distinction, so that makes a little more sense. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. Huh? If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? I finally figured it out. I'm glad someone here has. I keep saving because I'm really unsure of myself here. I feel like I'm flying a little blind. I have a general sense of what I think, but like getting the details. But I don't mind. That's kind of the fun of this game, right? Is figuring it out as you go. That's the brilliance of the design of these puzzles. So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have had to have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall? Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? What, the shelf? Oh, the halberd. The spiky. Yeah. I think Emma knocked him into it. The suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword. Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall, wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy. No. Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes. There's another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility? Of course the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless. Yeah. I don't know if I can go through with this. Mr. Wright? What's the matter? If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Yeah. 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 Nobody wants to say it. Oh, sorry, Emma. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? No. Oh, poor Emma. Yeah. Shit. I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. What, normally witnesses don't incriminate themselves, I suppose. Poor Emma. What? What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Sky, but given the circumstances... Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Imagine that, coming from you. Huh? If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. I think he's right, though. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes. Certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. You certainly can't get dead people to testify. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. Oh. What's Edgeworth up to? Touché, Miss Sky. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility? Phoenix is with me right now. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean, the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. Oof. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life. In one manner or another. That's impossible. Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist? Shit, man, I don't know. Gotta think back to the court record. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind. Let me look. Wasn't there something written on the jar? Just the handprint. Oh, there's a piece of cloth with Emma Sky's prints. I bet that's it. Because these blood traces here, it doesn't say anything. I'll double check it. Yeah. Only fragment found in Sill's lines remaining on it. So, like, I guess, but it's possible it's that. I think it's going to be the handprint. So, I'll say is an evidence. This message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? I mean, this is the same thing that happened with Edgeworth's case. Isn't it manslaughter, not murder? And isn't there, discretion among, judges in the system for accidents and things? Like, come on, there's a difference between an accident and premeditated, and I don't know. There are differences. Do not be mistaken, Miss Sky. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing we seek: the truth. No matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased. Okay, I think it's this. It could be the jar, but I'm going to lean towards this. This is the message from the deceased, because if she pushed him with her hand, that's her handprint on his jacket. Right. Now then, this is the message from the judge. Oh no! I was wrong! What? Oh, I guess that wasn't right. God damn it. Fine. If a dead person left behind a message, it would have to be in written form. That's the only logical conclusion. Okay. So, I was thinking a little more metaphorically. They're thinking a little more direct. Fine. Okay, let's try this again. I think it is the jar. This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before, right? Was he just going to speak the killer's name? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. It looks like everyone's forgotten this is just a jar. A message was left here, on the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice. For some reason, the blood on some of the fragments was not wiped away. Yes, there's a line here, drawn in blood. So what you're saying is that these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left of him to leave behind a message. One that someone apparently wiped away. The blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points. The victim's message will become apparent. No! Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us? Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal to us the answer. Gotta connect these dots to make letters. There's only one thing the victim would have written, given the circumstances. His murderer's name. Yeah, I see it. And then... Here. Sorry, Emma. I like this, interaction, though. And then they probably won't... Oh, maybe that's it. Okay, present. It's a defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Yeah. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people, she may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. Oof. Brutal. Seaworthy? Can't say I didn't warn you. Chief Gant, do you understand the implications of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in the case, were you not? Ah! Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. Gant's being such an asshole here. Ah! Ah! Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know? We aren't defenders of justice. What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter. Yeah, which is why you shouldn't kill him in 2 years. And also why you shouldn't sentence people to death. Anyways. Even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery, ultimately the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. And, like, Edgeworth doesn't deny that. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. But I think the people who forged the evidence, you know, they might have sent an innocent man to his death. How can he just stand there like it wasn't his fault? Order, order, order. Order! I feel like there's a good amount of fault with the frickin' cops here. The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. To be continued. All right, that is a good spot for me to stop for today. But, yeah, I was not expecting that outcome with Emma. I've kind of seen the halberd thing coming because it's very sharp, and I learned my lesson from the fence in the earlier trial. But I wasn't expecting Emma to be directly involved, which is a shame. So I guess we'll find out what happens next the next time. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you then. Bye!